New England Patriots have a saying, we're not collecting talent, we're building a team. And the way it generally works is I understand that, a player's a great player, and they usually go into two or three things. They become a broadcaster, and some of the great players are great broadcasters. Most aren't. Tony Romo's the exception. And then some great players go into business. Roger Staubach went into real estate and made a fortune. And then some go back into being an executive. Generally, the way it works is the greater the player, the lousier the executive. Michael Jordan's a bad executive. Michael Jordan was a great player. Magic Johnson was not a good coach, not a great talk show host. I'm not sure he's a great president, because I was talking to somebody in the last 24 hours in the NBA, and they said, it's not a surprise the Lakers are a mess. They don't have a grinder in the building. He said, you got a bunch of famous people. You have the famous daughter of a former owner. You have a former famous player, Magic. You had a great, famous, looks like Rob Lowe agent. And then you have LeBron James, who has some, influence over decisions. He goes, who's the analytic cruncher? Who's the grinder in the building? San Antonio's got a building full of grinders. So the more famous your front office, the more dysfunctional your front office. Because the way it generally works, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson are so gifted, they get impatient. And if you look at the Lakers, they've gotten impatient with players. D'Angelo Russell, they got impatient. He's now an all-star. Julius Randle, they got impatient. He's averaging 21 a game for the Pelicans. Brook Lopez, they got impatient. He's now having his best shooting year. Stars, Larry Bird got impatient with Paul George. Stars get impatient. Magic gets impatient. Michael Jordan bails on players because great players have the ability to just get stuff done. And it's not a long journey. Michael was good really early. Magic was good really early. And so, when I heard Charles Barkley a couple years ago, I want to be in the front office, I'm like, yeah, it'd be terrible. Is that you've got to be incredibly patient with basketball players. They come into this league at 18 years old. Most of them don't grow up emotionally till they're 26 years old. And so apparently this story came out that Magic Johnson ignored the Lakers coaches during last year's free agency. Luke Walton and the coaches wanted to keep Julius Randle and wanted to keep Brook Lopez, and Magic got impatient with both. And so Nick Wright was talking about this morning on First Things First. The Lakers are missing a key ingredient.
They need a nerd with the Lakers. They have two guys in the front office that fill the same role, relationship role, Pelinka and Magic. One was an agent, the other's a legend. You need a number cruncher. You need a guy in there that can say, here's a contract, here's a guy that's undervalued as opposed to a guy that's overvalued. That's what I don't see in the Lakers front office.
And this is what I'm told by people in the league. People think you can work the Lakers because Magic, LA is already an impatient city. It's an entertainment capital. Like if a show comes out and it doesn't hit in the first 3 episodes, they stop the show. LA is an incredibly impatient town. And then the Lakers are an increasingly impatient brand. And oh, by the way, Magic Johnson is a personnel guy because he's a star is impatient. For the record, there is value to having a star in your building. John Elway, for instance, landed Peyton Manning because Peyton Manning's a star, John Elway's a star, and stars it's almost like I was never a pro athlete and I interview pro athletes. But when I see pro athletes talking to each other, there's a code that I don't fit into, right? Because I didn't play pro athletes. There's like a language that they talk that I can't talk. Like I can never get past the velvet rope with most pro athletes. Stars take it to a different level. Magic, John Elway, Peyton Manning, Brady are in a different stratosphere. So there's value having John Elway in the building because he can land Peyton Manning. They talk the same language, the superstar language. They get each other. It's why actors and actresses often marry each other. They get each other. They get the burden of it, the greatness of it, the travel of it. So Elway lands Peyton Manning, but he hasn't been great in the draft. That's the grinding part. And Magic Johnson was great landing LeBron. That's what stars do. He connected with LeBron. He goes and sits in LeBron's Brentwood house, and they talk about being global legends and icon. Very connective. But the grinding part with the Lakers and the grinding part with the Denver Broncos, not so much. And that's why the more famous the building, generally the worse the building. Like the Patriots say, we're not just collecting talent, we're building a team. The Lakers this year felt like a TV show. Rondo and LeBron and Lonzo Ball and Lance Stevenson and JaVale. They had a bunch of characters. Didn't have a team. They just had talent. Hour 2 coming up. Reggie Bush stopping by in L.A. It's The Herd.